Vancouver's not like a big city like Toronto where you can have splinter groups that are big enough to support a scene. In Vancouver, you basically have to pretty well have everybody to make up enough.
At that time, I guess we were a pretty small group of people. I guess there was about a good 100 regulars that showed up to all the gigs. And I guess the most noticeable thing about it back then was that there were all kinds of different factions. You know, there was mods and pop and new wave and punk. And seeing that the scene was so small, everybody seemed to just get together.
I guess the first thing I ever saw was really the Ramones, right? They happened to be coming in town, and they weren't selling any tickets, so some reason or you could get in for like $5 or get in for free. Like basically everybody scammed their way in. And about 400 people showed up and saw them, like in this about June '77. And it was like probably the greatest gig I've ever seen, right? It was like an awakening.
Hurry, 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 before I go, no, no. I can't get to my fingers, I can't get to my toes, oh, no, oh, oh, oh.
That kind of got things going, and then some bands started. The Furies were the first, and it's the Dish Rags from Victoria.
It was a band from Vancouver called the Furies that we saw that summer of '77, and they asked us to play with them at the Japanese Hall, which was the first gig.
And there's all my other friends, yeah, all my old friends, my pretty affected friends, they're all done and gone downhill, but their eyes are looking up just like my looking up.
DOA's first gig, like this was a little bit later, in February '78, was at the same place, Japanese Hall. We knew 3.5 songs. Like we knew 3, and we kind of knew half of another one. And we sort of begged our way into the stage, right, and boarded these guys' gear, and we started playing the 3 songs. And then when we started playing them over again, the guys in their band realized what was going on, and this sort of fight erupted on stage with it. You know, eventually we got outnumbered, and they got their gear back, right, and that was our first gig.
That's right. That's a fun. People ride for my run. That's a fun. Right how it's this and done. That's a fun. People ride for my run. That's a fun. The government and the gun. And I said, I'm saying, that's just how I clown.
Subhumans were a great band, and there was the DOA Subhuman rivalry where we'd never play on the same bill. Who's going to headline? Is there something stupid like that? It's also we'd been in the same band together. Some of the guys, so it was sort of some bad blood between us a little bit, right? So.
Okay, that's Days of the Smiling Buddha. That was just recently I just did. That kind of reminded me of the old days. I just was thinking about the days, and that was a club on Hastings. It was like a little hole in the wall, but that's where the punk scene really started out of it in terms of what was happening downtown in Vancouver. You'd go down there, and there was the gigs were going on, bands you never seen or heard and stuff like this. It was a lot of fun. Cops come call everybody away for being underage and stuff like this. Everybody'd be back again next week, you know. There'd be, it was really crazy. And that was sort of like the view from the audience, you know, when you're on stage there looking down at all the characters out in front of you, and this is what was going on, and you don't know how to play, and they don't know what they're listening to, and everything's crazed, and everything's going to wake up with a bad hangover in the morning.
Back then it was just like, everybody had so much energy. Let's go, go, go.
You know, when the whole scene started you know, flourishing in New York and England, etc., people picked up on it here, and I think the media had a lot to do with it. They were really fair to the bands as far as doing videos with them and, you know, covering the press, while in a lot of other cities, such as even San Francisco, the media doesn't really give a damn.
And Buck Cherry was kind of at the center of the whole thing, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was that character who was had all the Rolling Stones moves down, had all the Rolling Stones history, and could impersonate Keith Richards at the drop of a hat, and a good friend of Art's and mine's, and great influence and great intellect and great knowledge and things. Now works for The Sun, and is probably in the basement somewhere working on some new band episode to Alicia and everybody with his world famous video, Barbara.
There's a new little girl in my home class. You know I'm talking about Barbara, and everybody thinks that such a gal. Barbara, she's the girl I love forever. We'll spend our lives together, Barbara.
Quintessence Records was one of the very first places around here, anyways, that gave some kind of support. There was somebody that finally that was willing to go into debt.
And that was Ted Thomas.
And that was Ted Thomas, yeah. Yeah, you know, he's the guy that basically sort of lied to the studios and things like that so that we could all afford to lose money.
This was just sort of the West Coast explosion with Circle Jerks and Dead Kennedys and all those people coming up and down the West Coast. We couldn't get across those damn mountains.
Why don't you tell people in the prairies where the name Dead Kennedys came from?
It's designed to bring attention to the end of the American dream and the beginning of the me generation. The thing that got the ball rolling was the Kennedy killings. The main causes were Vietnam and Watergate, where people decided they didn't care anymore, and their effort didn't matter. All they cared about is themselves, and consequently, America and thus Canada as well, due to the old domino theory, is slowly caving in.
The way the world is set up, you are shunned for changing and progressing. You are spit on for progressing and creating new music and new ideas, and you are rewarded for constantly being a parody of yourself, for constantly recreating yourself, acting like yourself, you know, a year ago.
Punk rockers and rockers in general can be some of the most one-way, closed-minded, fascistic people grouped together that I've ever seen. You flip it right now.
The new music will return with the aftermath of punk.